Johnny O'Neill was born March 22nd, 1954, but during the first 5 days of his life, he had to have surgery, an intestinal blockage, but he survived. But during the first year, he was in the hospital almost the entire time, fighting pneumonia. He was the first child. His parents were very concerned, but they were real concerned when the doctors told them he has a lung disease called cystic fibrosis.
For the weekend, a local man celebrated a huge milestone. And as Nick Foley tells us, it's not so much the point of the road he has reached, but rather the road he has traveled to get to this point.
Mayor of the City of Kettering does hereby proclaim March 23rd, 2024 to be John O'Neill Day.
Yeah. A special night for Kettering resident John O'Neill. Surrounded by friends and family for his 70th birthday, O'Neill recognized for his lifelong efforts to help those impacted by cystic fibrosis.
You guys are all special friends. There's a friend here, Mike Brooks, known me since second grade, so whatever
Wow.
he says, it's probably true, but you know, come on, I've outgrown it. It's been a few years. So I wanted to thank you for everybody coming, and this is great. It's so glad to have my ex-wife Barb here and our beautiful daughters and Carol and her daughter and our grandson.
They're men.
I just wanted to say thanks to everybody, and you guys are all special in my life, and I'm not a special person. I've had a lot of special friends.
Thank you, Johnny.
We love you, buddy.
Ben, you stole that line from a novel.
I know.
I did, if you wanted us to agree with them. Oh, no, John, you're special.
One more time.
Sure.
Don't say that, John.
Look at the size of this cake.
Chimney Christmas.
It's like the...
Wow, quit messing with him. Can we get a piece of that?
Okay. One of my real pleasures as mayor of Kettering is the opportunity to meet special, unique people across our city. There are a lot of them. And many of them I've never heard of until someone comes up to me and says, there's someone you really need to honor. And John did that, and I ran into him the other day at an event, and he started talking about you, and I said, we need to recognize this very somehow. So I have an official proclamation here from the city. I'm going to read all the whereases.
Okay.
All right. Whereas today, John O'Neill is being honored by his family, friends, and members of the Kettering community as we celebrate John's 70th birthday and 28th anniversary since his double lung transplant.
Wow.
Get 2 birthdays out of that.
Yeah, it's good.
Whereas cystic fibrosis is a respiratory disease that affects more than 30,000 Americans. Due to great research, medications, and lung transplants, many people with cystic fibrosis live through their 50s and beyond. And you're well beyond. And whereas John O'Neill was born in 1954 in upstate New York with cystic fibrosis, his parents were told he could possibly live to 8 years old. And whereas John decided to make the Miami Valley region his home in 1977, when he came to Dayton to work at NCR, where he stayed until 1996, when his health declined to the point that he needed a double lung transplant. And whereas John went to St. Louis to have a transplant on both of his lungs, which was successful. However, something did go wrong during surgery, and John awoke blind, never to see his 2 daughters or anything else again. And whereas John's presence and input to make a difference and advocate for people with cystic fibrosis is evident in his work while serving over 3 decades on the Cystic Fibrosis Board of Dayton, and his fundraising efforts for the Celebrity Concert for Charity, which provides money for cystic fibrosis research at Dayton Children's. Whereas John's positive attitude and perseverance serves as an inspiration to everyone he meets. Now therefore, I, Peggy Lehner, Mayor of the City of Kettering, is hereby proclaimed March 23rd, 2024 to be John O'Neill Day.
Yeah, Johnny for president!
I'll just present that to you and you can have
Okay,
it.
thank you.
Have it for you.
Is there any money in it?
Congratulations.
Oh, sad O'Neill. Sad. And 70 years old, how's it feel?
Feels great. I feel super.
Wow.
All the doctors lately, until this little hospital visit, I've been doing great.
Yeah, you look good.
A1C of 5.8.
Wow. 5.8.
5.8.
O'Neill, don't fudge numbers.
But I just subtracted 2 from it.
Man.
It's rounding down.
Wow. Wow. You're unbelievable.
Yeah. John Condon is my PR man, but don't tell him too much because he's gonna go on and get paid.
I'll send you an invoice.
Yeah. If I could see it, I'd pay it.
Oh man, sorry, Johnny. Get the cane.
Sure. Yeah, sure. Cool. Thanks.
Aww. That's awesome.
It's another
holiday to celebrate John's
What's that?
John O'Neill.
John.
Johnny, seriously, just give us some words of wisdom. How is it that you made it through so many didn't?
Got great friends like Dummy!
Well, man, come on, I can't take all the credit.
You most of it. He only gets the rest.
Okay, all
Okay,
right.
John, keep on building him up. When you know how John
Listen,
is.
you've turned this whole thing into my party. I don't want to give a speech.
Sure?
Okay.
No.
They're still here with the camera if you want to.
Listen, I'm a friend of his.
You know what, Tommy? You
Yeah.
can get a stick-on name thing and say Tommy Coughing Day.
Yeah, I like it. That's all I need. John O'Neill Day in Kettering.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe.
They spell it right?
No, they got Kettering. You spelled it with a C.
No, but they spell O'Neill right. That's the
I see. Okay.
I met him when he was 30 years old. We were working at NCR. It was my first day there in that department. My wife said, "Did you meet anybody you like today?" And I go, "You know what? There's a fellow, my cube mate. His name's Johnny. We're getting along really, really well." Johnny told me about the cystic fibrosis. We became best friends. When he was 41, he had to have a double lung transplant because his lungs had deteriorated so much. Now that's a very difficult operation. They literally have to crack open your rib cage, take out your lungs and put in new lungs. And you know what? He survived, but he called me and said, "Tommy, good news, I'm alive. Bad news, I'm totally blind." They said I would never see again. Oh, it was so devastating for him. He was so distraught. I took him to lunch about a month afterwards, and he said, "I don't even care if I live. I'm never going to see again, Tom." And I go, "Johnny, that may not be the case." And he said, "You know what else? The doctors told me that my lungs were not taking. They were rejecting. It's a death sentence." And I go, "Johnny, these doctors are wrong. You cannot believe that." And he screamed in the restaurant, "You're not listening to me. I'm dying." Everybody was watching. I didn't know what to do. I want to say positive things, motivating things. For the first time in my life, I had to just shut my mouth, open my ears, and just listen. He talked about his family and his kids and how much he was going to miss them and how he hoped that his children would remember him. But you know what? The doctors were wrong. His lungs did not reject. And as time went on, he began to live his life. He got a cane at first, then a seeing eye dog. Then he started to go downtown and do some traveling on the buses. It was really amazing. One day we were having lunch. He said, "I'm really angry." And I go, "Why?" He said, "You know what? I went to my blind support group today, and someone there who's blind like me actually said, you know, if I had one wish, I don't know that I'd ask for my sight back." Oh, I really went off. He said, "I'd do anything to see again. The sky, the flowers, my kids. Are you crazy?" But over time, one day Johnny actually said to me, you know, if I had one wish, I don't know that I'd ask for my sight back. And he was living life. But then his kidneys began to fail, and the doctors told him, unless you get a transplant, and that's not difficult, you're gonna die. By miracle, his wife was a match. She gave him a kidney, and both survived the operation. He was back to living life. But then he called me and he said, Tom, they said I'm diabetic now. I've got type 2 diabetes. So he started to control his diet. He started to exercise even more, eat right. He controlled his blood sugars, and once again, he was on the mend. And then one day he called me and he said, Tommy, I've got cancer. I just couldn't believe it. And I knew what he was going to say, of course. Listen, I tried this life thing. I gave it everything I had, but what are you going to do? And then he spoke. He said, you know, Tom, I think I can beat this thing. He went through chemo, radiation, and he beat it. He's a walking miracle. You know, think about your health. You're going to come across times where sometimes you're dealt something that you weren't ready to have to deal with, and you need to be strong, especially the first 3 months. You will learn how to handle the situation. And if you are healthy, think about what you're eating, how much exercise you're getting. Are you taking great care of yourself? Because life is so precious, and you have to take care of, number one, yourself. And when you or a loved one are facing tough times, remember Johnny O'Neil and never give up, because until you do, you've got a fighting chance.
Mayor of the City of Kettering does hereby proclaim March 23rd, 2024 to be John O'Neil Day. Yeah.